Hello again, Lar from Complete Test Success here. Welcome back to another live stream. So today we're doing an IELTS Q&A. So pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, just type them in the comments and I will give you answers to your questions. Or if you have any problems, describe your problems to me. So just write a comment saying what problems you have or what problem you have, and I will give you the solutions that you need to fix your problem. So that's pretty much what we are doing today. Pretty straightforward. Anything relating to IELTS or English, any problems or any questions, just go ahead and ask. Bro Code 11, excited? Good to see you here. Hi, Domenico. Good afternoon to you too. Afternoon, well, yeah, 4 p.m. here. So, yeah, still in the afternoon, just about. Working away, working hard as usual. Good to see you, Domenico. Hi, Akbara. Welcome to the lesson. Hey, Stephen. Good to see you here too. Welcome. Okay, so as I said, we're just going to go through any questions you have, and I'll provide you with whatever questions or advice you need. Hi, Lewis. Welcome back. Good to see you here. Chipapix. Good to see you too. Welcome to the lesson. Hey, Mohammed. Welcome back. I knew you from IELTS Advantage. You were one of my teachers. Great. Good. Hopefully I'll have more support for you right now. Okay, guys. So a good few people here. All welcome. So feel free to start asking your questions and, explaining what problems you have, and I'll be able to give you advice. Dominic, sir, it's mayhem here, as I've been writing various letters in English to schedule my internship for this summer. Very nice. Sounds like things are going well. As you may be aware, I'm taking IELTS academic version, which does not involve letter writing, I assume you're going to say. I mean, it's still a skill you would need. Hi, Bro Code. Will only replacing words with synonyms to paraphrase task 1 question be enough, or will it have a negative impact? But that's all you need to do. So the thing is, you don't want to copy the question directly. You don't want to copy every word of the question, because anybody could do that. You could do that in any language. If I gave you, a question in German, you could copy that sentence. So there's nothing, it shows no understanding of the sentence. It shows no ability to understand it or to, produce English. So that's basically it. It's just to stop copying it directly word for word. The paraphrase in general for task 1 and task 2, it's the least important sentence that you write. So what happens to a lot of students is they spend a very long time trying to change everything, trying to make this perfect paraphrase that has none of the words from the question. And it's really not worth that much time. It's not that valuable a sentence. It's not that important a sentence. So change a few words. As long as you're not copying 3 or 4 words in a row from the question, you're doing exactly what you need to do. So just, paraphrasing, changing a few words here and there, that's enough. If you want to, restructure the sentence grammatically, that's fine. But don't spend a very long time on it. It's not worth a lot of your time. The most important things are it's clear and it has the same meaning. Those are the 2 most important things. And after that comes the paraphrasing and the changing it. If it's not clear, you fail to paraphrase successfully. If it has a different meaning, you fail to paraphrase successfully. And after that, it's how much words you can change. So don't make it a priority. Don't spend 5 minutes writing a paraphrase. That's not the goal. Hi, Alec Beck. Welcome to the lesson. XIX, good to see you here. Welcome. Watching from Thailand. Good to see you again. Akbada, how to practice IELTS task 1. So it depends where you are. It depends where you are in your studies. I mean, step 1 is learn what to do. So, like how to organize your essay, like paraphrase, overview, and then body paragraphs describing every category. How to write an overview, do you need to include the increases and decreases? Do you need to include the highest and lowest? Are you writing a map? Are you writing about a map? Are you writing about a process? So the first thing is knowing what to do. And then after that, it's just a matter of practicing. Now, it's good to get feedback on your writing. That's why I have these live streams where I give feedback on task 1 and task 2 and speaking and everything, because, you might think you're writing it perfectly. And then, an IELTS expert will look at it and go, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And you didn't know you were doing it wrong. So learn what to do first, do some practice, get some feedback, find out what you're doing wrong, and then start fixing those mistakes. That's basically what you need to do. So it just depends where you are in the process. So if you already know what to do, you need to practice writing. And then once you can get the quality, you can write to the standard you need. So if you're aiming for a band 7.5, once you're capable of writing an essay that will score 7.5, then you start worrying about the timing. Like, can you do it in 20 minutes? So it's just a process. It depends where you are. If you already know what to do, you need to practice. If you're already getting the scores you need to make sure you're doing it on time. And once you can get the score you need within 20 minutes, well, then you're doing what you need to do. You're ready for the test. So, that question would depend on where you are in your journey, but those would be the basic steps that you need to follow. Lewis, sir, what is a good way of studying with a grammar book? Is it a good idea to solve exercises, write your own sentences, and have them corrected by a teacher or a native speaker? So when studying grammar, the students who join my one-on-one course, what I'll do with them, I'll correct the writing, or if it's speaking, I'll do a practice speaking test, and I'll make a list of the most common mistakes that they're making. So what some students like to do is they'll get a big, thick grammar book and they'll start on page 1 and they'll just go through all of it. But that lacks focus. So what I would prefer to do is find out what your biggest mistake is and then just complete 100% focus on fixing that. So grammar books, of course, are a great place to start so that you understand the rules. From there, you would need to do a lot of reading to see the rules that you've learned being used in reality, because the rules are just helping to guide you towards writing or speaking with accuracy. So what a lot of people will do is they'll learn the rules and they'll try to apply them to their writing straight away. But if you start reading first, you get a deeper understanding of how the rules work. And you'll read something. For example, you're studying articles. You read something and you see an article, you're like, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why they're doing that. So then you go back to your rules and you try and understand, the discrepancy between your understanding and how the grammar is really used. So get a deeper understanding of the grammar from reading, by reading for a while first. And then, of course, after a while of reading, you really start to understand straight away. You're like, that's why. Like, you understand deeply why the grammar is being used the way it is in the newspapers you're reading, or the magazines, or the websites, or whatever it is. From there, then you need to start doing it in your own writing. Now, you're asking about getting teachers to correct. Yes, definitely, you can get native speakers. I'll try that again. Teachers or native speakers, as you suggested. You've got software like Grammarly, which is really, really accurate these days. You can use that as well. The thing about solving exercises is that's just a test. It's just a test to see, do you or do you not understand? So doing exercises is helpful if you're not sure what grammar areas you are using accurately and which ones you're not. So if you do exercises, you see like, look, I'm getting all these mistakes with articles, so I need to study that. But when I do exercises for tenses, I'm always correct, so I don't need to study that. So solving exercises are helpful to guide you towards understanding which areas you have problems in. Or, if you've been working on articles and then you do some exercises, you'll see, have I improved enough that I'm ready to move on to the next grammar area? Or do I need to continue working on articles further? So I think solving exercises, they're more, for me, the way I see exercises, it's not really a tool to help you improve. It's more a tool to help you understand if you need to work on the grammar area or not. So it's a way to assess, is your grammar in that particular area good enough, or does it need more work? So that's how I would recommend using exercises. So yeah, I think I should have answered your question there. If not, let me know. Write another comment and let me know if I missed anything. Domenico, okay, so Domenico, you were saying which does not involve writing letters, but I have to learn how to write letters and emails in English all the same. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the format of letters that we write in the IELTS test are more like what you would have expected in like the 80s and the 90s, before internet was really prevalent. That's how we would write email. That's how we would write letters. But that's all changed. Nobody's really writing letters anymore. Like it's unlikely you're writing a letter to a friend. It's more likely you're sending them a message. So the format isn't really the same. And you know, if you're emailing, if you need to write to a business, you're probably going to send them an email rather than an actual letter. So you know what you're doing in the IELTS test is more a reflection of what letter writing was like in the 80s and 90s and you know before that, rather than what's actually happening in the real world now. But it's still just a good way to assess if a candidate is capable of communicating and writing or not. So even though it's a bit outdated, it's still a good way to just make sure, because you know you can't ask someone, you know, like what would you write in a text message, because there's no, basically in text message there's no punctuation, there's no grammar, it's very short, you know, so it wouldn't be enough to check someone's writing. Hi Escar, is there a possibility that the machine that will check my reading and listening answer make a mistake when checking the answers? No. So the thing is, like, that's a computer-based test, so you're selecting, you know, A, B, C, D, or you're writing in your answer. It's not going to make a mistake. It's not going to make a mistake. You'll be more likely to have a mistake made on the paper-based test because it's a person physically checking it. You know, a person is going to make more mistakes than an algorithm. So, you know, it's not, or a piece of software, whatever it would be called. So that's not, no, I wouldn't say that's necessarily the case. Quaram boy, hello to you. Why task achievement is much harder in task 1? What is the best thing to do in order to improve task achievement? Is task achievement more difficult in task 1 would be my first question. I don't know if it is. Do you know what, actually? When you're first starting, task achievement in task 1 does seem a bit overwhelming. But the deeper you, like, the more you look at it, it's probably not as challenging as you think it is. So I have lessons. If you go to the videos on my, you're on YouTube, so go to the videos on my YouTube channel, or go to the videos on my Facebook channel or Facebook page. So basically, you need to write a paraphrase. You need to know what that is. You need to write an overview. You need to know how to do that. So that will depend on, you know, is it a dynamic chart or a static chart? Is it a map or is it a process? So basically, there are 4 types of overview you need to learn. And then after that, there are the 2 body paragraphs, and you just need to describe every detail, all the key features, excuse me. So take a look at those lessons. Take a look at those lessons. I don't think you'll find it as challenging once you get a kind of a better understanding of how it works. Definitely from the start, from the outset, it does look a bit overwhelming. I remember when I started teaching IELTS first back in 2010, I did feel the same way. So now that you mention it, I did feel at the beginning, it was like, wow, that's what's going on here. It seems like, you know, like a really big challenge. But when you get down into it and you start to understand what you're supposed to do, it's pretty straightforward. And, you know, just take a look at those lessons. You'll see what I mean. Sir, I've been writing formal letters to the institution for my summer internship. Best of luck with that, Domenico. Hopefully that goes well. Hopefully you get what you're looking for. Coram boy, I'm just coming back to you for a moment. Give me a moment. I'm just going to find the videos I'm talking about and share them with you. 1 second now. Just 1 second. It's a little bit slow loading for some reason. Okay, so I have it here. So if you look at the comment that I've just shared, and now let me find it. This one here. It says academic task 1 playlist, and there's a big long link there. So I've shared that in both Facebook and YouTube. So that's the one that I'm talking about. Take a look at that, and that should clarify a lot of the things that you're finding difficult at the moment. I go through it all quite slowly in quite a lot of detail. So just take I think all in those videos come to about 2 hours. So spend about 2 hours, go through them slowly, and you'll definitely find it a lot easier after that. Should I write main body paragraph when there is 3 pie charts? I don't fully understand that question, bro code. So you'll have to write a body paragraph for every task 1 question. You'll have to write body paragraphs. So you have to describe, basically you're describing the details. So the paraphrase is the first part. That's what the question is about. The next part is the overview. So that's just kind of giving a picture, like just generally what's going on. And then the body paragraphs are like, here are the specific details. So you start talking about the specific percentages, the specific figures, whatever numbers are in the chart, you start to describe all of those things. So every task 1 question, you will need body paragraphs. But the thing is, I'm not sure, maybe that's not what you're asking me about. So at the moment, I'm not sure if I answered your question. If I didn't, just clarify in the comments, and I'll give you some more support then. Should I mention everything in an overview, like every item, not numbers? You need to refer to every category. You do. Now, you don't need to mention every category by name. So let's just say, for example, we have category A, B, C, D, E. And let's say A increases and the other 4 decrease. So we don't need to say category B, C, D, and E decreased. We can say all of the categories increased except A, all of the categories decreased except A, which increased. So you do need to refer to every category. You need to give a description of what happened to every category, but you don't need to literally say the name of every category in the overview. So yes, you need to describe what happened to every category, but no, you don't need to mention them individually. So yeah. Beck, how can I get a higher score in task response, task achievement section? What is the main difference between 6 and 7? How can I create it easily and effectively? So for task 1, academic, it's about avoiding the kind of typical problems. So you need to write an overview. You need to write an appropriate overview. All of your descriptions must be clear. You need to include all the key features. You need to include all the categories. So those are the types of things that people do. Oh, and your data must be accurate. So if you have any of those problems, you're not getting a high score. For general training task 1, you need to respond to the 3 prompts. So there's 3 things. You're asked to do 3 things. You need to do all 3, and you need to develop all of your prompts as well. So if you have an appropriate idea to respond to the 3 prompts, that'll be a 6. And then as you develop them, that'll go from a 6 to a 7. And as you develop further, that will go from a 7 to an 8. And it's the same thing then with task 2, is how many ideas do you need? Are your ideas relevant? Are they specific? And did you develop them? So it's pretty much down to that. So if you're getting a band 6, that means that one of your ideas wasn't developed. So you have main ideas. If they weren't all relevant, you wouldn't get a 6. So we can say for sure, if you're getting a 6, all of your ideas are appropriate, but you're not developing them appropriately. So to develop them, you need to explain, how is your idea connected to the question? Like, what's the connection between those 2 things? So you need to explain how or why. To develop it further, you can include an example. So it just depends. Like, let's say, for example, you had 4 ideas. You developed 3 of them appropriately, and you didn't develop the 4th one. That's still a 6. You need to develop all 4 of them to go from a 6 to a 7. So it could be that you're doing everything perfectly except for one idea, and that means you're not going from a 6 to a 7. So it's all about consistently developing every idea, and then how much you've developed. So if you've developed all of them a bit, you'll go from a 6 to a 7. If you've developed them all a lot, you'll go from a 7 to an 8. That doesn't mean you should write longer essays, but like, let's say for each idea you give a short explanation and an example. Both explanation and example would need to be appropriate for all 4 ideas to get a band 8. Whereas if the example was wrong for one, you wouldn't go from a 7 to an 8. So it has to be all of them developed appropriately to go from a 6 to a 7, and all of them developed appropriately even further to go from your 7 to your 8. So it's about having relevant ideas, specific ideas. So all your ideas must be relevant and specific to get a 6, and then developing them appropriately is what goes up from 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. What is topic word? Example, if I talk about a store and say that they have t-shirts, would t-shirt be considered as topic word? I don't use the phrase topic word. That's not something that I refer to with my students. So I don't fully understand that question, Eskar. I don't fully understand what that question is about. In what context would a word be a topic word? Why is it important? Or what is it used for? Can you tell me more about that, please? Sir, is there any website to practice writing task 2 general training? Well, writing task 2 and writing task 2 in general training test and writing task 2 in the academic test, they're the exact same. But what do you mean by practice? So it's like, you don't need a website to practice. If you just type into the internet, like IELTS writing task 2 questions, you'll find hundreds, thousands of questions to practice. So yeah, just search for that and you'll find plenty. And like I said, general training and academic are the same. So you can use any task 2 question that you find. Is it possible to get a band 9 just by replacing words? I only can do that. Your band 9 will be based. So you're talking about the paraphrase. The band 9, you getting a band 9 doesn't hinge on your paraphrase being good. It's the full essay. So I think you're probably looking beyond what you need to look at. Like, what score did you get in your most recent test? If, for example, you got a band 7 and you think the reason that you didn't get a band 9 was your paraphrase, well, there's more going on. It's not as simple as you write a good paraphrase, you're getting a band 9. It's not like that. So continue paraphrasing with the main focus being same meaning and clear. Those are still the 2 main things you need to focus on. Hi, my brother. Are paper-based reading and listening answers checked by humans or machines? Humans. They're checked by people. Yeah. 3 body paragraphs. Pro code meant 3 body paragraphs. Should I write 3 body paragraphs when there are 3 pie charts? No. No. Because if there are 3 actually, if it was a static chart, it depends. Like, do we have 3 pie charts where it's, like you have category A in pie chart in 1990, and then, category ABCD in 1990, category ABCD in 2000, category ABCD in 2010. And you can see A went from 10 up to 15 down to 5%. Like, if the 3 pie charts are showing the same information, just in different years, no, you would, organize the paragraphs according to category. But if the 3 categories are all for, like, how much money is being spent in one country, and then how much money is being spent in another country in the same year, I'll probably still go by category. No, overall, no. It would depend on the question. There's no simple answer. So it won't, you always do the same thing for every pie charts. It's not about that. First of all, it depends on, are the charts representing static or dynamic information? And then, can the categories be compared in some way? So if it was the amount of money being spent in 3 countries, I would probably still compare the values per category. So it would depend. There would be some situations where you could, but in most situations, no. Most situations, no, that wouldn't be the case. Your exam is on 13th of March. Any tips? So 13th of March is another 8 days. Well, I mean, at this point, studying vocab isn't really going to be beneficial because there isn't enough time. It depends what mistakes you're making. I could have 10 students doing their test next week, and I'd give the 10 of them different advice. It depends on what your weaknesses are. Generally speaking, we wouldn't expect your vocab to improve much in a week. So focusing on other areas, so like fluency might be a good one for speaking. Writing, making sure that you can write a task 1 and a task 2 within 60 minutes. Reading and listening, if you still have some areas you need to work on. It depends. It really just depends on what your weaknesses are. So I guess that's my advice. Work on your weaknesses. Work on the things that you're finding difficult. Work on the areas that you're not getting your scores in yet. So it just depends on what your weaknesses are, and just focusing on that. Or those. In writing, when it says 13th of May, if I write 13 May, will it be correct? If you're talking about the reading and listening tests, they'll accept any version of dates. But I would just copy whatever it says in the question. I would repeat what the question says. That's the least complicated way to do it. Lewis, after studying a grammar topic, I look for example sentences or text that contain a rule, example tenses, modals, prepositions, to see how it's used. Then I write sentence to verify my understanding. If that works for you, that's fine. I mean, it just depends. If that's successful and you are making the improvements you want to make, continue. If you feel like it's not working, mix it up. Maybe follow the way I was describing earlier on. Instruction that I learned through IELTS General. That would make sense. Yeah, because that's what they're looking for. That's what they'll be looking for. Good. Seems like everything's coming together for you. Domenico. Pro Code 11. Which is better to write first, task 1 or task 2? I'd say the one that you're more comfortable with would be best to write first, because you are unlikely to take too much time to finish it. But again, it depends. Do some practice by yourself as well. Practice doing a few with task 1 first, practice doing a few with task 2 first, see which one works better for you. But I would say, like, if you're in a situation where task 1 usually takes you more than 20 minutes, if you do task 1 first, you're more likely to take the time away from task 2. and spend extra time on it. Whereas if you do task 2 first, you finish after 40 minutes, you have no choice but to finish in 20 minutes. So, you can't give yourself extra time. You can't steal the time from task 2. You have to be finished after that 20 minutes. So for me, I would rather do it that way, in that the one that I'm more confident I can finish in time, do that one first. And then with the second one, you have no choice. There's a deadline. You will get it done on time. When you have no choice. That would be my way. But it just depends. You might find that you're better off doing the one that you're weaker at first for some reason. Do some experiments yourself, because I don't think it would be the same for everyone. I don't think everyone would benefit from doing task 1 first or task 2 first. I think it would depend on, your own set of circumstances. Is there any difference between online IELTS and offline? Because I'm planning to take online IELTS. Academic and certificate is not accepted by particular organizations, or does it matter? The online test you need to find out from the people who are accepting your certificate. So, if you're going to a university, find out, will they accept the online one? Most of them, it depends. But the online one wouldn't have the same level of security. So, I mean, a university would be more likely to accept it than, let's say, like if you're a doctor looking for a job in a hospital, UKVI is an extra secure one that the UK government want. It just depends. It depends on the people accepting it. But generally speaking, the offline one is more secure and more widely accepted. But it depends on who's accepting your or who's accepting your certificate. So I can't answer that question. You need to contact whoever will accept it, whoever you're applying to, and ask them. Hi, Teed. How to know if my examples are good? Well, I mean, an example is good if it's related to the main idea you have. So if you're given an example, it's an example of your main idea, but it also has to be in the context of the question. So what happens to some students is they give an example of their main idea, but it's not related to what the question was about. So just check that. Is your example about the main idea? Are you actually talking about the thing you said you were going to talk about? And also, is your example related to the topic of the question? So just, double check. Am I talking about what the question asked me to talk about? And that's it. If you are, typically speaking, your example will be okay. Sir, can I use slang words in speaking? Absolutely. If you're using them accurately, yeah, absolutely. You definitely can. For sure. One position, main ideas, develop, conclude your ideas. With your position, I found this idea finally. One position. So you mean, so if it's like agree or disagree, fully agree or fully disagree, have main ideas to support that and develop those ideas. Yep, good. Hi, Mandeep. Welcome to the lesson. I gave exam twice, but it was 5.5. How to enhance? At that level, it could be you need to. We don't know. The truth is, we don't know. So, like, let's say if you're talking about writing and your writing is 5.5. So, like, maybe you got a good score in task 1 and a bad score in task 2. Maybe you got a good score in task 2 and a bad score in task 1. And then if we look at task 1 in more detail, maybe you got a good score for task achievement and coherence and cohesion, and low scores for vocab and grammar, or the other way around. Maybe you got good scores in vocab and coherence and cohesion and low scores in grammar and task achievement. We don't know, and that's why it's so important to get your work checked. Like the students who join my course, like the majority of the time that I spend with the students is giving feedback. Like I have my platform set up where the lessons are video lessons. So they complete the video lessons and we interact about anything that they have questions about. And then the majority of the time I spend with my students is feedback, showing you what you're doing wrong, how to improve, what are you doing wrong, how to improve. Because when you do the IELTS test, you don't have that information. You got 5.5. Why? We don't know. There are multiple possible reasons for that. And that's why feedback is very important. So like I do one-on-one courses, and I do one-on-one essay corrections. I do one-on-one speaking tests. I also have these live streams where I give feedback to students. I have live feedback lessons. They're my free group classes on Zoom. The link for that is in the video description. Again, giving feedback to students on, what are they doing wrong? What do they need to do to improve? So, you do need feedback. You do need feedback. If you don't know why you're not getting a higher score, improving your score is very challenging. But if you know why you're getting a lower score, if you know what you're doing wrong, then you're just like, okay, fix that exact problem. Just focus, fix that. And that's when you start to see your scores going up. No problem, Mandeep. You're all right. And the recording will be up as well, so you can watch that later. Does it work to use idiom to get 7 or higher? No, it doesn't work. Yeah, idioms will not get you a higher score. The examiners are looking for idiomatic language, not idioms. So if you were to say hanging out with my friends, hanging out, that's a phrasal verb, that's idiomatic. But if you're saying like, it's raining cats and dogs, that's an idiom. That's not going to help because nobody talks like that. So what you want to do is you want to sound natural. You want to sound like, a native English speaker using phrases that native English speakers use, not learning idioms from the internet and repeating them in the test and sounding completely unnatural. So no, idioms are not the key to a high score. Oh, such great information. I didn't realize that general and academic tests were the same. Oh, there you go, Stephen. Oleg Beck. Sir, does ChatGPT give correct scores for IELTS academic essays? ChatGPT is not great with task achievement. Coherence and cohesion is okay. Vocab and grammar is very good. Vocab and grammar is quite good. I haven't looked at it in a while, but generally speaking, like I have on occasion, students will give me essays that are written by ChatGPT. To be honest, the vocab that ChatGPT uses isn't very natural. It sounds like an academic writing for a scientific journal. That it's not natural. It's very, very academic heavy, like language that you're not expected to use in the test. And in general, ChatGPT tends to list lots and lots of ideas and not develop any of them. So a lot of essays that ChatGPT would write are going to get a band 6 for task achievement because there's no development. It's just like, here are many reasons why. So, if it's advantages and disadvantages, like here are 6 advantages, here are 6 disadvantages without any, explanations or examples. So for task achievement, no. For coherence and cohesion, okay. For vocab, it's a bit unnatural, but it's a great resource. So I'm not saying don't use it. But if you're giving it your essays and asking it to correct essays, or if you're giving it questions and getting it to write sample essays, it's not flawless, but it's a great resource. Just be careful the way you use it. Sir, is including topic sentences in task 1 essential for coherence and cohesion? In task 1, I mean, to begin for something or focusing on increasing trends first. No, we don't use topic sentences in task 1. No, we just for task 2. And even at that, it depends on the task, the type of task and the organization. So it's not that you absolutely have to have topic sentences, but it would be more a feature in task 2 and not so much in task 1. Mandeep. Dear sir, should I write a task 2 daily in order to get band 9? Or should analyze my key mistakes because I got 7.5 or 8 in writing twice, but not perfect 9 bands. Yeah, so writing an essay every day isn't going to improve your score to a band 9. So, you need to have enough vocab. So, part of your improvement is going to come from studying vocabulary. And, to go from a 7 to a 9, easily could take 2 years studying vocab every day. And then you've got to improve your grammar as well. You need to make sure your ideas are developed appropriately. And again, why did you get 7.5? Like which band scores were 8, which band scores were 7? Having all that information, it's not possible for me to say why you're not getting a 9. But what I can promise you is writing essays every day is not the solution. You need to find out what your problems are and fix them. So, if your problem is that you're getting a 7 in vocab and you need a band 9, well, writing essays every day, you're going to use the same vocab. So, part of the solution is not writing essays, learning vocab, learning grammar. Writing essays is helpful for your time management, practicing to think of ideas, using what you've learned and reinforcing what you've learned about the test. But no, that wouldn't be the solution for sure. You'd need to approach each band score, like task achievement, coherence and cohesion, vocab, grammar. You'd need to approach those separately and work on improving them. By topic word, I meant vocabulary related to the topic I'm discussing. When I'm talking about medical x-ray would be considered, yes, so topic specific vocabulary, excuse me. Yeah, so definitely. But don't learn vocab in that, you're trying to learn topic specific vocab. That's the way that the examiner's analyzing it, but that's not the way you learn it. Just learn vocab. Just learn vocab the way you always have. So because you're studying for the IELTS test doesn't mean that you will study vocab in a different way. Your approach to studying vocab is continue learning vocab. Like, have a notebook, make sure you review it every day, add words that you think will be helpful. Don't learn weird words that nobody uses. Don't learn words that you're probably not going to use yourself. Like, just keep to simple, basic words, keep building on the foundation and spend lots and lots of time. That's basically what you need to do. So don't try to learn special words for the IELTS test. Just continue learning normal words. That's the same way you've always studied English vocab. Just continue learning normal words. That's the best thing to do. Sir, I better keep my head down and practice as many IELTS writing task 1 and task 2 questions as possible, because publishing scientific papers involves both task 1 and task 2 writing skills. I mean, it just shows like the types of things that you learn in IELTS writing do apply to the real world as well. Even though we're saying like letters are a bit outdated, the style of letters, but there's still essentially the same principle behind writing an email. The format is different, but being formal, being polite, getting your message across clearly, like all of those things are still relevant. So yeah, that totally makes sense, Domenico. You meant in listening. Don't remember what that was about now, my brother. You meant in listening. Yeah, so it will be accepted. They'll accept all versions of dates in listening. But like I said, try to write it down the way they said it. So if they said the 13th of May, write the 13th of May. Of course, make sure that that's within the word limit. So it's like the 13th of May, that's 4 words. If it says no more than 3 words, well, then it's 13th of May. So, limit yourself to whatever the requirements are on the test. But all versions of dates are accepted. I look back, sir, what kind of books do you recommend for reading and listening practice? Is there other books like Cambridge practice books? No, so Cambridge, like the ones, if you're talking about practice reading tests and practice listening tests, the ones published by Cambridge are the only ones that I would really recommend. But if you're just looking for reading and listening in general, like outside the context of the IELTS test, it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever you're enjoying. I mean, for both vocab and grammar, there's really nothing better you can do than read books. If you're spending a few hours reading books in English every day, like it all comes together a lot more quickly. But most people don't like reading books these days. Anything you do in English would be a benefit, but reading books is, you can't do anything better than that when it comes to, language like vocab and grammar and that. It's really, really beneficial. Many people suggest to spend 40 minutes on task 2, but it takes me only 30 to 35. Is it a problem with my writing? No, it's not a problem. But that means if you finish it in 30 minutes, that means you have 10 minutes to go back and try and fix all your vocab and grammar mistakes. You might even try to expand the range of vocab that you have, try and swap out some synonyms or something. And again, if you finish in 35 minutes, that means you have 5 minutes left to try and improve the quality of the writing. So no, that's absolutely not a problem, but it doesn't mean you finished your essay, you're finished. You're finished your essay. Now it's time to try and fix mistakes and improve the quality of the essay, the language in the essay. Dear sir, I know IELTS marking criteria for both IELTS writing, Dear sir, I know IELTS marking criteria both for speaking or writing, but still my writing or speaking score is not perfect 9. Why? So it's because you're not meeting the criteria. So you understand the criteria, but you're making mistakes. So come to my live streams, come to my live feedback lessons. Show me your writing and I'll show you what you're doing wrong. But you could be like, you're definitely doing something wrong. There's definitely something that's preventing you from getting that score. So you need to find out why. By looking at this message, I can only guess. But if you come to my live streams where I'm working on writing, or if you come to my live feedback lessons where I'm working on writing, if you join my course where you can submit your writing, I'll be able to say, like, look, here are the 3 problems you have. Those are the things you need to fix. But like I said, everybody has mistakes, but not everybody has the same mistakes. So it's not like everybody who's getting a 7.5, not all of those people are getting 7.5 for the same reason. So you need to find out what your specific issues are and, of course, go about fixing them. Okay, so we only have 13 minutes left and there are quite a few questions. So what I'll do is I'll just try to go through them a bit more quickly because I want everyone to get a response. Hello, sir. I had got corrections from you in IELTS Daily, and you said that when a word ends in a T or D sound, you tend not to pronounce that sound. Then what methods do I use to fix it? So if you're not finishing the final sound of a word, so if the word is want and you're saying one, but you need to slow down. And every time you get to a word that has a T at the end, you need to make it a habit of saying it. So first of all, you need to check, like, am I pronouncing that T sound? So let's say the sentence, I want a cat. So normally you say, I want a cat. So slow down, say, does the next word have a T at the end? Yeah, okay. Want a cat. So thinking about every word before you say it, checking if it ends in that sound, saying it slowly, allowing yourself to get accustomed to making that sound correctly. Sir, what kind of books do you recommend for listening and reading practice? Okay, so we looked at that already. Which sites or podcasts would you recommend for different English accents? I don't really listen to podcasts that much, to be honest. I know, like, Spotify has lots of them and YouTube has lots of them. They're going to be predominantly English and American, but maybe, like, if you just type online, like, what other accents do you want? South African, New Zealand, Australian. There aren't really that many other accents that you would need anyway. So just type in, like, popular Australian podcasts, and you'll have a list that way. But I personally don't really listen to a lot of podcasts. Hey Marvik, good to see you here. Hi the guy. Sir, is it safe to use street words in speaking? Like to use, example, yo, ma, man, what's up? I mean, it's still an English test. Yo, my man, what's up? No, you can use informal vocabulary, but you still need to talk English. So no, I agree with your teacher. Don't use that. Akbata, I want to feel every word I want to feel every word which I say or sentence which I speak, because just learning words does not give me a sense of feeling language in depth. Okay. Okay. Dear sir, IELTS exam is an English test, but most students do not get good scores, although their English level is very good. Why? Because what very good means and what band 9 means are not the same thing. So very good is a band 6. Like the band 6 is very good. If you're a band 6, you can communicate in English on pretty much anything you need to communicate on. Band 6.5 is very, very good. Like a band 7 is fantastic. So like your version of what very good is and Aya's version of what a band 9 is, those are two different things. Like, yeah, very good. And the thing as well is, like, if you're marking, maybe you were in your secondary school, you always got A plus, you always got full marks in the IELTS tests, in your high school tests. But the standard is like, it's a different standard. So like A plus 100% correct and band 9, they're not sitting next to each other. So like a lot of people, they've gone through their education system. They were one of the best English speakers in their school. They always got top grades in English. So that makes them think they are at the very top, like fluent native English level speaker. And then they get to the IELTS test and they see that it doesn't translate up here, but more like down here. Like a band 6.5 is very good. The reality is it's very good. Most English learners would never be able to get a band 6.5. So that in itself is a big achievement. But I think for most people, when they start studying for the IELTS test and they hear, a university wants a band 7, they're like, okay, I'll just go do the IELTS test and get a band 7. But they don't realize that a band 7 is, far better than anything that they've probably encountered before. Just your impression of what very good is probably a lower band score than you realize. That's probably the reality there. Just learning and memorizing words is not an effective way. Any advice? Yeah, so you need to engage in it. Lots of reading, lots of speaking, lots of listening, watching TV, listening to podcasts, listening to music, everything. You need to immerse yourself in the language. ChatGPT sometimes gives even band 9 essays band 7. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know about that, actually. I'm not sure about that. Vocabulary is a very difficult part in IELTS to improve all 4 parts: listening, reading, speaking, writing. So please tell me, what should I do in order to improve vocab? It's patience. You need a lot of patience. You need to study every day, and you need to study every day for a very long time. So it's about being patient and being diligent. Kakra, sir, do you think watching band 9 every day will improve my band when it comes to speaking IELTS test? No, I don't know what watching band 9 means, but if it's like watching other people who are a band 9, that's not going to improve you. Like if they have a band 9 in pronunciation and you sit there looking at them, that's not going to make your pronunciation better. In the same way, like, I can watch like professional basketball players every day. I'm still rubbish at basketball. It doesn't, watching other people doing it doesn't really influence your skills. So no, that's not going to work. Fluency comes from practice. The more you practice, the better your fluency will get. It's literally down to that. Like, how often do you speak in English? If your fluency is poor, you probably don't speak in English very often. So you need to spend more time speaking English. Sir, sometimes I use 2 or 3 words for explaining my view instead of 1 word. For example, I use "it might have a negative effect" instead of "it might be destructive." Those aren't synonyms. Keep it simple. So what you're doing now is you're trying to find ways to boost your score quickly instead of spending the long time it takes to improve your vocab, like in a more natural way. Slow down. Say it whatever way you would say it more. Communicate clearly, use whatever vocab you would naturally use, and don't force vocab you don't normally use into your answer. Continue studying vocab normally. Hi, Taban. Welcome. Hi, hello. Hi, sir. Good to talk to you. My question. Hi, Jamshid. Lewis, For speaking, how to avoid repeatedly stopping to think about what to say next. That's fluency. You need to practice speaking more often. So that's exactly what fluency is. So it's not that you need to do anything specifically, like, you know, are you pausing too often? Are you speaking too slowly? Like, what type of fluency problem you have, they're all solved in the same way. You know, it's basically your brain cannot communicate, cannot come up with the ideas and the vocabulary fast enough that you can continue going. So it's about exercising your brain, getting your brain, you know, giving your brain a workout and getting your brain faster at operating in English, basically. So you need to practice speaking in English more. My question is, which one is good to get higher score? Doing a lot of practice or doing without doing but listening or reading books? Thanks. Again, it depends what you're trying to improve. So are you trying to improve your language? Like, do you know what mistakes you're making in the IELTS test? So you need to focus on your weaknesses. You need to focus on your problems. So, you know, if you are getting a low reading, if you're doing a practice reading test and you're getting a low score because you don't understand any of the vocabulary, it doesn't matter how many practice tests you do. Until you improve your vocab, your scores will stay the same. So you need to recognize what your problems are first and then focus on them individually. Sir, if there is a sentence like "I think that," can we drop K sound? I think that, I think that, I think that. No. So we don't go think, but we'll still go I think that. So there's a K, but we don't release it, but we still go up with our tongue like I think. So we get that far into the K sound. Goodbye, sir. Hope I can share my dream IELTS score with you. Me too, bro code. Domenico, sir, when writing scientific paper in the results section, it's essential to apply the same strategies that are used to describe general. Definitely. How can I watch the live lesson again, dear sir? Go to my YouTube page or my YouTube channel or my Facebook page. Once I stop this live stream, it'll be up on the channel. Okay, my answers because of poor network. Well, yeah, you'll be able to rewatch them. Lar, can I book a one-on-one speaking exam with you? Absolutely. Yeah. So there is other side. There's my email address, lar@completetestsuccess.com. Send me an email there. Sir, when do I practice reading without time limit? I get 6.5 plus. Good. Is that enough? Is that a high enough score for you? And if so, start working on the time. If not, continue working on improving your scores. Okay, so I got to the last comment, made it to the end. I thought for a while I wasn't going to get through everyone's comments, so that's good. Okay, so that's it for today. Yeah, I have another live stream next week. If you want to join my free live feedback lessons, the link is in the video description, and that's my email address for any of you looking for one-on-one support. So that's it. Take care of yourselves. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.